Human beings have always been attracted to what they cannot have, and forbidden places awaken an irresistible curiosity in us. When we hear about inaccessible places, our imagination blooms, creating mysterious and enigmatic scenarios. It's almost as if what lies beyond these barriers is something from another world, something that only the privileged or the daring can uncover. Since ancient times, the desire to explore the unknown has been part of our nature, pushing us to break limits. But what makes these places so protected? Some say it's to preserve important secrets, while others believe isolation ensures the survival of a rare culture or ecosystem. In an era where technology shortens distances and practically everything can be explored virtually, these few forbidden places become true sanctuaries of mystery. And have you ever stopped to think what it would be like if, for some reason, we could finally have access to them? What would we find behind its walls and borders? Just imagine, with each new discovery, more questions arise. Why do certain governments protect these territories so zealously? Is it a matter of national security, economic interests, or is there something bigger? Something that goes beyond our understanding? One way or another, what is forbidden always seems more fascinating, and the fact that we can't get close only fuels the desire to know what is being hidden from us. And now, you're about to discover some of the most inaccessible and protected places on Earth. But be prepared, because the stories surrounding each of them are beyond imagination. From secret government areas to remote, untouchable islands, each location has its own secrets. Ready to dive into this universe of curiosities about forbidden countries and places? So, let's begin our journey into the mystery of Area 51. Area 51 is, without a doubt, the most mentioned location when it comes to military secrets and conspiracy theories. Located in the Nevada desert in the United States, this military base sparks the imagination of millions. Its impenetrable fences, armed security guards, and intimidating warning signs keep away anyone who tries to get close. But what is really hidden behind those gates? Are these just tests of advanced aircraft, as the government claims, or is there something more? For many, Area 51 is synonymous with UFOs and extraterrestrial contact. Reports of strange sightings and lights in the sky are frequent in the region, and this only fuels speculation. In the 1940s, with the famous Roswell incident, the mystery surrounding the site took on a global dimension. Some believe that the U.S. government is keeping aliens in captivity, while others argue that the technologies developed there are out of this world. Regardless of the truth, curiosity about this forbidden place only increases. But beyond UFO theories, what many don't know is that Area 51 played a crucial role in the development of spy technologies during the Cold War. Aircraft such as the U-2 and the SR-71 Blackbird were tested there, in absolute secrecy. The need to protect these technological innovations from enemy eyes justifies, to a certain extent, extreme security measures. However, this official narrative does not convince everyone, and the mystery remains. Now, imagine yourself on the edge of that desert, looking at an area that shouldn't exist on the map, but that everyone knows about. What else would be stored there, beyond the reach of ordinary eyes? As we move away from the Nevada desert, we travel to an island where isolation is as intense as secrecy. Welcome to North Sentinel Island. In the heart of the Bay of Bengal, surrounded by mystery, lies North Sentinel Island. As the world moves forward, this piece of land seems to have stopped in time, inhabited by one of the last untouched indigenous groups on the planet, the Sentinelese. They live in total isolation, rejecting any external contact. Trying to get close to the island could be fatal, and often was. The Indian government has strictly banned any visits to protect both residents and visitors. The Sentinelese, a tribe fiercely protective of their territory, have been this way for centuries. Each approach attempt by explorers or missionaries ended in tragedy. With bow and arrows, they repel any foreign presence. But why do they act like this? For them, the outside world represents a direct threat to their survival. Their ancient ways of life and beliefs have been preserved by isolation, and any interference could devastate their culture and, possibly, their health. Despite the ban, curiosity about the island and its inhabitants continues to grow. Stories of confrontations, failed rescues, and even the deaths of adventurers who tried to get close only reinforce the aura of mystery surrounding North Sentinel Island. Could it be possible that the Sentinelese know something that we in the outside world don't know? Or is their extreme isolation just a form of cultural resistance to an ever-changing world? These questions remain unanswered. And so, we head to another place where the isolation is as deep as the mystery, but this time driven by science. Next stop, Surtsey, Iceland's forbidden island, where access is reserved for nature's eyes only. In the North Atlantic, off the coast of Iceland, there is an island that, unlike others, is completely untouched by human presence, Surtsey. Created by a volcanic eruption that began in 1963, this young island is one of the most protected places in the world. The few who are allowed to visit are scientists, and the reason for this exclusivity is surprising. Surtsey is a natural laboratory where nature is observed without human interference. Each year, the life forms that colonize the island are carefully monitored. Surtsey's isolation is not just physical, but also scientific. Researchers observe how plants, birds, and even insects arrive and adapt to this completely new environment. The objective is to understand the process of colonization of life on a newly formed land, without the human interference that usually drastically changes the ecosystem. Even leaving a human footprint, there is a risk for this unique natural experiment. For science, isolation is essential. However, this scenario also arouses the curiosity of many, because how can you not be fascinated by an island so recent and at the same time so forbidden? Imagining that few human eyes have ever touched its soil creates a sense of mystery. What is nature creating in Surtsey, out of our hands? And what would it be like if, instead of observing from afar, we could walk along its volcanic beaches and witness nature in its raw state? One interesting thing about the country that holds Surtsey and its mysteries is the rigor with which the place is preserved. Now, we move away from Iceland and head towards another equally protected place, but this time with even deeper secrets. The next destination takes us deep into the Vatican, where documents that could change history remain locked away. The mysterious Vatican Secret Archive. Within the imposing walls of the Vatican hides one of the most secret and inaccessible places in the world, the Vatican Secret Archive. For centuries, this vast collection of documents was out of reach of curious eyes. It holds records dating back more than 1,000 years, documents that cover everything from the history of the Catholic Church to events that shaped Western civilization. But what exactly is hidden there? And why do only a few have access to these secrets? Many speculate that the archive holds documents of great historical importance, such as detailed accounts of Galileo's trial, letters from Michelangelo, and even secrets related to the Inquisition. Others believe there is something even more intriguing, perhaps evidence of events that contradict history as we know it. Whether diplomatic treaties or papal correspondence, the idea that these papers could change the way we view the past is immensely fascinating. The very existence of these archives raises important questions. Access to these documents is extremely restricted. Only historians and scholars with special permissions can enter its halls, and even then, they can only consult a limited number of records. This rigorous control fuels theories about what might be hidden. Could the Vatican be the keeper of secrets that could rewrite history? Or does the Church simply jealously preserve its spiritual and cultural heritage? Doubt persists, and with it, mystery grows. While many dream of exploring the secrets of the secret archive, there are those who believe that what lies inside will never be revealed to the world. And so, we move from the vastness of religious archives to another equally isolated and protected territory. Now, we travel to Russia, where an entire city is closed to foreign eyes. Mezhgory, the enigma guarded by the Kremlin. Hidden in the Ural Mountains, Mezhgorye is a Russian city surrounded by mysteries. Officially, it shouldn't exist, but it is there, protected by the army and isolated from any external contact. This secret city, inaccessible to foreigners, is the subject of much speculation. What exactly is the Russian government hiding in Mezhgorye? Some say it is a top-secret military base, while others talk about underground complexes that store nuclear weapons. Mezhgorye was built during the Cold War, and since then, its doors have been closed to the world. Reports indicate that the city is linked to Mount Yamantau, a heavily guarded mountain shrouded in secrecy. It is believed that beneath it lies a vast complex of bunkers, laboratories, and communication systems ready for any nuclear emergency. Russia, however, has never confirmed or denied activities there. This silence only increases the curiosity around this place. Whatever the truth, Mezhgorye remains inaccessible. Tourists cannot visit, and even Russian citizens themselves are unaware of the details of what happens there. The area is highly monitored, and any unauthorized approach is quickly intercepted. But why such a secret? Some believe that the city holds not only weapons, but also the key to Russia's future in the event of a global catastrophe. Is this the real reason for such protection? While the secrets of Mezhgorye remain locked away in the Ural Mountains, our next destination takes us to an equally isolated place, but with a macabre twist. Welcome to Italy's Poveglia Island, where the dark past still haunts those who dare approach. Located in the Venice Lagoon, Poveglia Island is a place surrounded by an aura of terror and mystery. This island's dark past dates back to times of plague, when it served as a place of quarantine for the terminally ill. It is believed that thousands of plague victims were left to die there, and their bodies still lie underground. For many, this macabre story is just the beginning of something much more terrifying. The island is largely avoided, and visits are strictly prohibited. The legends surrounding Poveglia are as frightening as its real story. It is said that the place is haunted by the spirits of lost souls, victims of the plague, and the inhumane experiments carried out in a psychiatric hospital that operated there years later. The screams of pain from former patients, according to reports, still echo through the corridors of the abandoned hospital. This macabre past has turned the island into one of the most feared places in Italy, which only reinforces its reputation for being off-limits to visitors. Few people risk getting closer, and the few who do speak of a heavy, oppressive atmosphere, as if evil were permeated in every stone on the island. Paranormal researchers who have attempted to explore Poveglia have reported unexplained happenings, from sightings of shadowy figures to the feeling of being watched by unseen forces. For many, the island is a cursed place, and the Italian government itself keeps it closed, with few exceptions. While Poveglia's dark secrets remain sealed, our next stop takes us to a completely opposite but equally inaccessible place. We're about to explore Heard Island, a pristine volcanic land in Antarctica, where isolation and preservation are the rule. Hidden in the frigid waters of the Indian Ocean, close to Antarctica, is Heard Island, one of the most remote and inhospitable places in the world. This volcanic island, dominated by Mount Mawson, is an Australian territory where human presence is practically non-existent. Its extreme isolation and adverse weather conditions make it one of the most preserved places on the planet. To protect its unique biodiversity, access to the island is extremely restricted, with rare visits only permitted to scientists. Heard Island is a true natural laboratory where nature's life cycle develops without any human interference. The glaciers that cover much of the island and the icy waters around them form a habitat for rare species of seabirds and mammals. Any human presence, even temporary, could drastically impact this delicate ecosystem. Therefore, Australia maintains strict control over who can set foot in this remote territory. Although it is a little-known place, Heard Island arouses the curiosity of scholars and adventurers. The idea of an active volcano, encased in snow and ice, in one of the most remote places on Earth, is fascinating. However, the dangers are many. Constant storms and rugged terrain make any expedition a risky mission. Heard's wild nature remains largely untouched, a testament to the planet's strength and resilience when left alone. As we move away from the frozen landscapes of Heard Island, we travel to one of the most mysterious and protected places in North Korea. Now, we head to the financial heart of the regime, the enigmatic and secret room Trinta A Nov, where access is denied to almost everyone. Amid North Korea's closed and mysterious regime, there is a place that arouses the curiosity of governments and intelligence services around the world. Room Trinta A Nov. Located in Pyongyang, this secret room is the center of the government's clandestine financial operations. North Korean. Little is known about its activities, but it is speculated that businesses involving money laundering, arms trafficking, and even currency counterfeiting are conducted there. Room Trinta A Nove is inaccessible even to most North Koreans, making it one of the country's best-kept secrets. Since it was created in the 1970s, Room Trinta A Nove has become a centerpiece for maintaining the regime's power. With an economy in constant crisis, the North Korean government has reportedly developed secret financial schemes to guarantee resources that support both the political elite and its military programs. Among the rumors, there is talk of shell companies, secret bank accounts abroad, and a network of illegal operations, all controlled directly by Kim Jong-un's circle of trust. Access to Room Trinta A Nove is restricted to very few members of the government. The activities taking place there are so well protected that, even outside of North Korea, it is difficult to find concrete information. This extreme secrecy, combined with constant international sanctions, means that the North Korean government has to resort to alternative means to survive financially. Room Trinta A Nove, therefore, is the center of a true geopolitical and financial enigma. Leaving the financial mystery of North Korea behind, we now head to Bohemian Grove, California, an exclusive club surrounded by conspiracy theories, where the powerful gather to discuss the future of the world away from the public eye. Hidden in a forest in California, the Bohemian Grove is known as the place where the world's most powerful figures gather in secret. Since its founding in the 19th century, the exclusive club has been the stage for meetings between political leaders, big businessmen, and influential artists. But what happens there? Few know for sure. Rumors and conspiracy theories surround the place, fueling the idea that important decisions about the global future are made out of the public eye. Gatherings at the Bohemian Grove are shrouded in mysterious rituals and traditions. Members are said to participate in symbolic ceremonies, including the famous Cremation of Care, a ritualistic enactment that symbolizes the abandonment of worldly concerns. While to some this seems harmless, others believe these encounters are more than just recreation. There are those who say that political and economic agreements are signed there, far from public supervision, influencing the course of entire nations. The club's exclusivity only adds to its aura of mystery. No matter how influential you are, entry to the Bohemian Grove is only possible by personal invitation. And even with all the power of those inside, the rules of secrecy are strict. Nothing that is discussed or happens at Bohemian Grove is allowed to leak. This absolute silence generates countless speculations about what the powerful are up to. Could the club be a center of hidden power, shaping the destiny of the world? Leaving Bohemian Grove, we continued our journey to a much older but equally inaccessible location. The Lascaux Caves in France hold a prehistoric treasure that few modern eyes have had the privilege of seeing. Let's explore this next mystery. Discovered by chance in 1940, the Lascaux Caves in France are home to one of the largest collections of prehistoric art in the world. Its walls are covered in cave paintings made around 8,000 years ago, depicting hunting scenes and extinct animals. However, this treasure of humanity is not accessible to the public. The caves were closed in 1963 to prevent deterioration of the paintings, as contact with air and humidity began to seriously affect the works of art. Since then, scientists have fought to preserve these representations of prehistoric life. An exact replica of the cave has been built so that tourists can experience the sensation of walking among the ancient drawings, but access to the original cave remains prohibited. The risk of damaging the paintings is simply too great. For experts, this measure was crucial to ensure that future generations can continue to study this incredible artistic and cultural legacy. Curiosity about the Lascaux Caves persists. What else could these ancient walls reveal about the first humans? The few images released awaken the desire to explore more deeply. The details of the animals and everyday scenes suggest that the inhabitants of the time had a surprising understanding of their environment. The cave is, therefore, a window into the past, allowing us to glimpse a time when art was one of the first forms of human expression. Leaving behind the mysteries of these ancient paintings, we now travel to Hawaii, where a private island keeps its traditions untouched and its gates closed to almost everyone. Let's go to Niihau Island, where only the chosen are allowed to enter. Niihau, also known as the Forbidden Island, is one of Hawaii's best-kept secrets. Since 1864, when it was purchased by the Sinclair family, the island has remained largely isolated from the outside world. Its few inhabitants, descendants of native Hawaiians, live in a preserved environment, maintaining cultural traditions and a lifestyle that has changed little over the centuries. To protect this heritage, access to the island is strictly controlled. Foreigners, tourists, and even ordinary Hawaii citizens cannot visit without express permission from the owners. The goal of this isolation policy is to preserve both native Hawaiian culture and the island's delicate ecosystem. In Niihau, time seems to have stopped. There are no cars, electricity, or internet. Life continues in a simple and community way based on fishing and agriculture. The few times the island was open to the public were for humanitarian or scientific purposes, always with great care not to disturb the inhabitants' way of life. This atmosphere of secrecy only increases curiosity about what really happens on the Forbidden Island. The rare opportunity to visit Niihau is offered only to a privileged few, usually with scientific or cultural interests. For many, the idea of an island where the modern world has not penetrated is fascinating, but at the same time intriguing. What do these few inhabitants think about the world beyond their beaches? How do they keep their traditions so intact while the rest of Hawaii has been transformed by tourism and globalization? As we leave behind the pristine Niihau Island, we now head to a completely different place, where secrecy is kept not by tradition, but by national security. We travel to the heart of the USA, heading to Mount Weather, where a top-secret military shelter is always ready to protect the elites in case of catastrophe. Deep in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia lurks a top-secret U.S. government installation, Mount Weather. This underground complex is one of the best protected shelters in the world, prepared to shelter the main political and military leaders in the event of a nuclear catastrophe or any national emergency. Virtually inaccessible to the public, Mount Weather is shrouded in mystery and tight security. The little information available about its operations fuels theories about what is really hiding there. Created during the Cold War, the shelter was designed to function as an underground city, equipped with everything needed to keep the government operating in times of crisis. From advanced communications facilities to life support systems, Mount Weather is prepared to ensure government continuity in extreme situations. Most Americans don't even know it exists, and those that do rarely talk about it. What makes this location so secret is precisely its vital strategic function. Entry to Mount Weather is highly restricted, with access only granted to a very select group of people. For many, the idea that a shelter of this size is only available to political elites in times of disaster raises questions. What would happen to the rest of the population? This shelter is a grim reminder of how the government prepares for catastrophic scenarios we hope never to see. But what exactly would happen there if it were activated? The doubt remains. Leaving the mountains of Virginia, our next stop takes us to a completely isolated and mysterious place. Sable Island, also known as the Island of Shipwrecks, where the danger of the waters hides ancient secrets and many untold stories. In the middle of the North Atlantic, there is an island so dangerous that it is known as the Graveyard of the Atlantic. Sable Island, a narrow, desolate strip of land, is famous for the numerous shipwrecks that have occurred along its treacherous shores. Since the 16th century, more than 350 ships have been destroyed by its waters, and the island has gained a fearsome reputation. Its changing geography and unpredictable currents make Sable a risky place for boaters, which has led the Canadian government to severely restrict access. Sable Island is shrouded in mystery. Its isolation makes it almost untouched by humanity, and the few people who visit it are scientists dedicated to studying its fauna, especially the wild horses that inhabit the place. These horses, descendants of animals brought by colonizers centuries ago, roam freely across the dunes and beaches, reinforcing the island's wild and untouched air. However, in addition to the natural beauty, danger continues to haunt those who dare to approach it. In addition to the shipwrecks, there are reports that the island was once used as a refuge by pirates, and that its secrets are still buried in the sand. With the thick fog that often envelops the site, it's easy to imagine stories of ghost ships and lost treasures. Few dare to approach, and those who do must face a hostile and inhospitable environment. Sable remains an enigma, both for sailors and historians trying to understand why there were so many shipwrecks. Now, we leave the icy isolation of Sable Island to travel to Brazil, where another island, this time infested with venomous snakes, is so deadly that no one can even set foot there. Welcome to Ilha da Queimada Grande, better known as Snake Island. Ilha da Queimada Grande, better known as Snake Island, is one of the most dangerous places on the planet. Located off the coast of São Paulo, Brazil, this island is infested with poisonous snakes, and not just any snake, but the Jararaca ilhoa, one of the most lethal snakes in the world. With poison capable of causing death in a few minutes, the island is so deadly that the Brazilian Navy prohibits anyone from disembarking there without authorization. Even scientists are only allowed on extremely controlled missions. The legends surrounding Snake Island are as venomous as its snakes. It is said that the island's first residents were killed by the snakes when they tried to remove them for human occupation. There are also stories of treasures hidden by pirates, protected by snakes, but this has never been proven. What is certain is that for anyone who dares to approach, the risk is real and constant. The island is a natural trap, where the ground is literally dangerous to walk on. Despite being inhospitable to humans, the island is a true sanctuary for biodiversity. The The snakes, which were isolated there for thousands of years, evolved in a unique way and are part of a delicate ecosystem that remains practically untouched. The preservation of this species is one of the main reasons why the island is so strictly protected. Snake Island is not only a symbol of danger, but also of how nature can adapt and survive, even in the most extreme conditions. Leaving the mortal danger of Snake Island, we now travel to a place of spiritual peace and tradition, where access is also extremely limited. We are going to Japan to visit the Ise Shrine, the spiritual heart of the country, and one of the most sacred places that foreigners will never be able to visit. Ise Shrine, located in Mie Prefecture, Japan, is considered the holiest temple of Shintoism, the country's native religion. This complex of shrines is dedicated to the goddess Amaterasu, the sun deity and ancestor of the Japanese imperial family. Despite its cultural and religious importance, Ise Shrine is one of the most inaccessible places for foreigners and even the Japanese public. Only priests and members of the imperial family are allowed to enter the most sacred part of the sanctuary. What makes Ise Shrine even more special is the tradition of cyclical reconstruction. Every 20 years, the complex is completely demolished and rebuilt on adjacent land, a ritual that symbolizes renewal and continuity. This practice, which has existed for more than 1,000 years, keeps the tradition alive and reinforces the connection between the past and the present. For those outside this cycle, the sanctuary remains shrouded in mystery, a place of spirituality inaccessible to the modern world. The inaccessibility of the Ise Shrine makes it a place of extreme reverence. The silence and secrecy surrounding the temple only increase the fascination about what happens inside. Does the temple hold ancient secrets, passed down from generation to generation? Or is it just a haven of peace and contemplation? For ordinary visitors, all that remains is the privilege of walking around the sanctuary and observing the sacred structures from afar without ever entering their gates. Now, we leave the sacred and spiritual Japan to travel to Australia, where another place, this time military, keeps its gates closed and its activities extremely secret. Welcome to Pine Gap Base, the U.S. government's eye in Australia. In the heart of Australia, surrounded by desert, lies the mysterious Pine Gap Base, one of the United States' most secret installations outside its territory. This base, jointly operated by the U.S. and Australian governments, plays a crucial role in global intelligence operations. Officially, Pine Gap is a satellite tracking station, but many believe its activities go far beyond that. The base is a key part of the U.S. global spy system, monitoring communications and movements around the world. Pine Gap has been in operation since the Cold War, and its isolated location in central Australia was strategically chosen to keep its activities away from prying eyes. The base is used to track satellites, intercept communication signals, and operate surveillance drones. However, his true role remains a mystery, fueling theories about covert operations ranging from espionage to nuclear weapons control. What happens there is largely confidential, even to the Australian government. Access to Pine Gap Base is extremely restricted. Only employees with very high security levels can enter, and the public is not allowed any type of approach. The top-secret nature of the base makes it the target of protests and distrust among Australian citizens who often question the extent to which Australia controls its own land. After all, who really runs Pine Gap, and how far does their power go? Now, leaving the Australian desert and the world of espionage behind, we head to an equally closed place, but whose secrets still resonate like a dark echo in the history of humanity. We travel to Chernobyl, where a radioactive exclusion zone remains as a reminder of one of the greatest nuclear disasters in history. In April 1986, the world witnessed one of the biggest nuclear disasters in history, when reactor number 4 at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Ukraine exploded. The catastrophe spread radiation across much of Europe, and the area around the plant has since been declared an exclusion zone. Chernobyl and the ghost town of Pripyat, once home to thousands of people, have been abandoned, and access is prohibited without special permits. The radiation still persists, making the place dangerous for human life. The Chernobyl exclusion zone is a landscape of desolation, where nature has slowly begun to reclaim what was left behind. Wild animals roam the deserted streets, and once vibrant buildings lie in ruins. For scientists, the site serves as a living laboratory to study the long-term effects of radiation. However, even with all care, visiting the area is extremely restricted and limited to controlled tours. The risk of contamination is still real. Despite the danger, Chernobyl attracts the curiosity of many. The disaster left deep scars in history, and the exclusion zone has become almost a symbol of human arrogance towards nuclear energy. For those who visit the area under supervision, the feeling of walking among the ruins of a city frozen in time is surreal. Everything seems to stand still, as if the clock had stopped ticking in 1986. The invisible radiation, however, is still present, reminding us that the danger has never gone away. Now we move from the grim scenario of Chernobyl to a much more distant place, deep space. Our next stop is Pluto, the dwarf planet that, although it is within the reach of our telescopes, can never be explored by us. Let's discover the mystery of Pluto. Pluto, the dwarf planet located in the far reaches of the solar system, has always been shrouded in mystery. It was long considered the 9th planet, until it was reclassified as a dwarf planet in 2006. Although we have sent probes to capture detailed images of its icy surface, Pluto remains inaccessible to humanity. The colossal distance and extreme cold conditions make any manned mission there impossible these days. Pluto, in many ways, is an unattainable destination. Images sent back by the New Horizons probe in 2015 revealed fascinating details about Pluto, from its vast plains of frozen nitrogen to its mountains made of ice. Despite this, there is a lot we still don't know about this small celestial body. Pluto's low gravity and rarefied atmosphere make it seem like an almost alien place, unlike anything we know in the solar system. But despite all the curiosity about the dwarf planet, the truth is that we will never be able to set foot there. Pluto also represents the limit of our space exploration capabilities. Current technologies allow us to explore the solar system remotely, but the dream of sending humans to such distant places is still out of reach. The journey to Pluto would take years, and the extreme conditions would make any attempt at colonization impossible. Still, curiosity about what else might be hidden in the depths of space persists, and Pluto remains a symbol of our limits as a species. While we leave the mysteries of Pluto behind, our next journey brings us back to Earth, more precisely to Australia, where a military testing area stretches across a vast and impenetrable territory. Let's explore the Woomera Prohibited Area, Australia's forbidden desert, where foreigners are barred and military secrets remain locked away. In the vast Australian desert, there is an impenetrable and highly secretive area known as the Woomera Prohibited Area, WPA. This region, which covers approximately 122,000 square kilometers, is one of the largest military test zones in the world. Since Cold War times, Woomera has been used for testing missiles, nuclear weapons, and other cutting-edge military technologies. Access is restricted, and the area remains closed to foreigners and civilians, except in extremely controlled circumstances. Woomera's remote location and isolation make it an ideal area for sensitive military testing. Many of the activities carried out there are unknown to the public, which has generated a series of theories and speculations. Could Woomera be a secret weapons development site? Are new technologies being tested, far from the eyes of the world? What is known for sure is that any unauthorized approach is severely punished, and control over the area is absolute. Despite its military use, the Woomera Desert is also home to unique wildlife and stunning landscapes. However, nature is not immune to human activities. Tests carried out there have already caused significant environmental impacts, raising concerns about long-term effects. Even so, the Australian government and military forces continue to use the area for strategic purposes, keeping its secrets guarded under layers of protection and surveillance. As we leave the forbidden desert of Woomera, we head to another location that keeps its secrets closely guarded, but this time protected by tons of steel and maximum security. Let's travel to Fort Knox, the most secure vault in the world, where U.S. gold and other mysteries remain inaccessible to the public. Fort Knox, in the state of Kentucky, is known as the most secure and impenetrable vault in the world. This facility, which holds the United States gold reserves, is surrounded by layers of security so strict that no one other than authorized employees has ever been allowed entry. But what's so special about Fort Knox, besides the gold? Many believe that in addition to billions of dollars in gold bars, the vault also stores documents and historical objects of incalculable value, protected with the utmost secrecy. The mystery surrounding Fort Knox goes beyond its treasure. Security measures include heavily armed guards, electrified fences, surveillance cameras, and indestructible steel doors. Even planes cannot fly over the place. All this protection makes many wonder, does Fort Knox hold more than just gold? Theories say the site could house precious artifacts, such as the original Declaration of Independence, or even relics that would change the course of history, kept away from the public eye. Despite all the security and secrets surrounding Fort Knox, the vault is rarely opened. The last official audit took place decades ago, sparking speculation about the true state of its gold reserves. Is there still all the gold the government claims is there? Or is Fort Knox actually a front to hide even bigger secrets? What we do know is that any attempted break-in would be in vain, and the vault will continue to hold its secrets for many years to come. Now that we have left Fort Knox, the most protected vault in the world, we move on to the end of our journey through the dozen of most inaccessible and forbidden places on the planet. Let's reflect on the human fascination with these places and what they represent. Along this journey, we explore places that awaken our curiosity and stir our imagination. Whether for security, nature preservation, or historical and cultural secrets, each of these inaccessible places reflects the human desire to control the unknown. What do they have in common? They hold secrets that we cannot easily uncover, and this only increases our fascination. The truth is that what is forbidden or inaccessible always attracts us irresistibly. Every place we visit on this trip is a reminder that there are still mysteries in the world that we may never be able to fully explore. These places, whether by nature or man, remain closed to us, and, deep down, maybe that's their beauty. The preservation, secrecy, and protection of these territories ensure that the mystery continues to live, leaving us with the eternal desire to discover what lies beyond our borders. They are the last frontiers of the unknown. But what if one day we can access these places? Would they lose the fascination they exert on us? Or would the discovery just open up new secrets to be explored? What is certain is that the search for the unknown is part of our nature. No matter how far away or inaccessible these places are, there will always be a part of us that wants to break down barriers and discover what lies beyond what is allowed. This quest for the impossible is what makes us human. Now, before closing, how about reflecting on these hidden secrets? Have you ever wondered how many mysteries are still around us, waiting to be discovered? What if the next big discovery is precisely what is stored in one of these forbidden places? If you want to continue exploring the world and its mysteries, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and join us on future journeys through fascinating and inaccessible places.
Hey explorers, if you love discovering the amazing curiosities and stories we share here on Exploring Nations, how about supporting the channel with just $1? This small gesture can make a big difference and is essential to keep this content going. Without your support, our journey might be cut short. And there's more. When you shop on Amazon, use our special link. It costs you nothing extra, plus you get an exclusive discount and it helps us out a lot. The links for donations and Amazon are pinned in the first comment. Don't let this adventure stop, we're counting on you. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like, and drop us a comment.